We're going to look at a few more examples of how to simplify problems when an exponent is raised to another exponent, meaning we have an exponent behind a set of parentheses. The exponent behind the set of parentheses tells us how many times to write that set of parentheses. With this being a 2, then we will write the entire set of parentheses 2 times. And then we complete this problem as a multiplication problem. 3 times 3. 3 times 3 is 9. The x variable and the x variable with the 5, x, 5 plus 5. Add the exponents on like variables, y to the 7th and y to the 7th. So we add 7 plus 7. Cleaning up those exponents will now bring us to our final answer. 9, x to the 10th, y to the 14th. Final answer for number 1. Let's now look at number 2. No different. The exponent of 2 behind the parentheses will tell us to write that parentheses out 2 times. 4 x to the 7th, y to the 3rd. 4 x to the 7th, y to the 3rd. Multiplication problem now. 4 times 4. 4 times 4 equals 16. The x to the 7th and the x to the 7th will give us 7 plus 7. Y to the 3rd and y to the 3rd will give us y3 plus 3. And cleaning that up will give us 16 x to the 14th, y to the 6th. Final answer for number 2. Let's move on to number 3. With number 3, the only thing I noticed different is we have a 3 behind the parentheses, which means we write the exponent down 3 times. 5x to the 8th, y to the 7th. 5x to the 8th, y to the 7th. 5x to the 8th, y to the 7th. Multiplication, 5 times 5 times 5. 5 times 5 times 5 equals 125. X to the 8th, x to the 8th, and x to the 8th. 8 plus 8 plus 8. Y to the 7th plus 7 plus 7. And adding those together will bring us to our final answer, 125. X to the 8 plus 8 plus 8 is 24. Y to the 7 plus 7 plus 7 is 21. And there's our final answer for number 3. Alright guys, one more example before we investigate a possible shortcut for these kind. Example number 4. Exponent of 2 behind the parentheses. We'll write this parentheses down 2 times. 11 x to the 4th, y to the 2nd. 11 x to the 4th, y to the 2nd. 11 times 11. 11 times 11, 121. X to the 4th plus x to the fourth, y to the second, plus y to the second, 121, 4 plus 4 is x to the eighth, 2 plus 2 is y to the fourth. And we have our final answer for number 4. Stay tuned for the shortcut when we get to the back of the notes. Thanks, everybody. All right, guys, although the last way we just worked these out didn't seem that long because the exponent behind the parentheses was either a 2 or a 3, when the exponent is 5, writing that parentheses out 5 times can take more time and bring in more careless mistakes. So here's another way, possible shortcut. Distribute the 5 to all parts inside the parentheses, but keep it in the exponent position. So when I distribute that 5 to the 2, it's not 2 times 5, it's 2 to the 5th power. When I distribute the 5 to the 4, it's not 4 plus 5, it's 4 times 5. And then distributing the 5 to the 2 is not 2 plus 5, it's 2 times 5. So instead of writing that parentheses out 5 separate times and working it out, this shortcut will save us a little bit of time. Now, we can type 2 to the 5th power into the calculator, or we can write that out as 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. 5 different times, whichever one you feel comfortable with. I'm going to show you both ways. 2 to the 5th power on the calculator. We're going to reuse the exponent button that we learned in our last unit. 2, the exponent button, to the 5th power. Enter. And it gives us 32. Or 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different 2's also gives us 32. I find the exponent faster. You decide which one's best for you. So 2 to the 5th power, 32. 4 times 5. 4 times 5 is 20. 2 times 5 is 10. And that is our final answer for example number 5. Example number 6 brings in a little negative. So we have to be careful with negatives, especially using the calculator. 4 will be distributed to all parts that are inside the parentheses. But since that is a negative 4, we need to write it down as negative 4 with parentheses and the exponent of 4 behind the parentheses. And then x, it's not 5 plus 4, it's 5 times 4. And then y, not 7 plus 4, 7 times 4. Typing negative 4 to the 4th power in the calculator, we'll need to use parentheses. The calculator will mess us up if we do not. So let's see that. The parentheses above the 8 and above the 9, again, we used the parentheses in our last unit a lot. Parentheses, negative 4. Close the parentheses. And then our exponent button again to the 4th power. Enter. 256. Or negative 4 times negative 4 times negative 4 times negative 4. Again, 1, 2, 3, 4 4's because of the exponent 4. And it gives us the same 256. 256. 5 times 4 is x to the 20. 7 times 4 is y to the 28. And we have number 6 finished with our final answer. Okay. Guys, 2 more examples. Hopefully you're getting a good hang of the shortcut. Example number 7. Again, the exponent of 5, if we write those parentheses out 5 different times, it's going to take us much longer. So the shortcut allows us to distribute that 5 to all parts inside the parentheses. But we must remember to keep it as an exponent. 3 raised to the 5th power, not 3 times 5. And then with the x variable, 3 plus 5? No. 3 times 5 with those exponents. And again, not 4 plus 5, but 4 times 5 with the exponents. 3 to the 5th power. Continuing to practice it on the calculator. 3 exponent to the 5th power. Enter. 243, or 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. Make sure we have 5 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 threes. Enter. 243. 243. 3 times 5. X to the 15th. 4 times 5. Y to the 20th. And there's our final answer for number 7. Looks like we have one more example. Example number 8 only has a 2, but we can still apply the shortcut. So that 2 will be given to all parts inside the parentheses. Not 15 times 2, but 15 raised to the 2nd power. X, the 6 as an exponent, not 6 plus 2, but that one is 6 times 2. And the 11 as the exponent, not 11 plus 2, but 11 times 2. 15 to the 2nd power. 15 exponent 2. 225, or 15 times 15, just 2 of them. 225. 225 x, 6 times 2 is 12. 11 times 2 is 22. And there is number 8 finished up. Thanks, everybody.